Soon as he grabs, as long as he grabs a Overlord when this comes out, then everything should be fine. So hopefully he will do that. Do see 6, 8, basically 8 gateways, so this is just going to be a DT charge all in. Alright. So, looks like Baby Sea Cow doesn't fully have alarm bells going off yet. He should as soon as he sees these DTs. He is already stepping on the roach key though. DTs are in here. Come on, you got an overlord right here. Make it an overseer. Make an overseer. Looks like he is just gonna abandon this base here. He is making an overlord here. Don't think he saw the DTs going into his main base. So, gonna be a little bit unfortunate. Do see charge lots also coming through here. So, luckily, Baby Sea Cow did not go super high up on drones. No, you need to stop these DTs. Kill the DTs. He has a decent amount of... Oh, he's gonna make it into an Archon right in front of his face. Wow. Ballsy. He does have a decent number of roaches. He is evacuating the workers from his natural. Do you see a third base going down behind this? As long as he just keeps making roaches, he should be able to push this out. Only problem is he's lost a lot of workers, so he either needs to immediately remake this and get back on drones, or he needs to just run across the map with these DTs. Or DTs, these roaches. To be honest, I'd probably run across the map with the roaches, but that's just me. Roaches are over here, gonna be fighting the charge lots, stalkers, and the Archon here. Looks like he is going to probably clean this up. He does clean it up. Are a few scragglers here from our Protoss player. He's just gonna run a stalker into his space. Alright, this guy's amazing. Baby Sea Cow is cleaning up this proxy, and yep, that's what he's gonna do. He's just gonna try to run a stalker into his base. Alright, see what the next step for everybody's favorite Sea Cow is gonna be. Looks like he is gonna go across the map. There are already 3 shield batteries here. Fortunately for Balgruff, there are 25 roaches. And he has 3 stalkers and 3 charge lots. Even with 3 shield batteries, that does not kill that many roaches. So, let's see what he is gonna do here. Looks like Baby Sea Cow making some Ravagers. Don't think those are completely necessary, but is gonna make them. He can bust these shield batteries using the biles, but honestly, don't think he will even need to. I think he's just gonna be able to kill this with the basic auto attacks. So, more zealots constantly coming out. Just continued roach production behind this. Just take out the pylons. Just kill the pylons. Alright. Looks like he is indeed just killing the pylons. So, that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna try to pull back here. Baby Sea Cow is running a little bit low on roaches. Needs to F2 and pull the rest of his army that he has into this fight. Gonna kill no gateways. Looks like the probe's getting in here fighting. Let's look at the unit tab. There are 4 zealots, 3 zealots, 6 zealots, 14 roaches, 4 ravagers here, 4 everybody's favorite manatee. He is just continuing to go down on this Protoss. And Balgruff is going to GG out. giving a Boomlin the first victory for this week's match. So, some good stuff there by Boomlin, realizing after he held the initial wave of attacks from the Protoss player that he could just go kill him. That's what he did. So, good stuff there. Alright. So, we're going to be moving on to the next map. I don't know what I just tapped in, but it was not chat. There we go though. We got it in there eventually. That's all that matters. So, let's see who their next player will wind up being. In the meantime, though, I don't know why I said that, because I didn't have anything to follow it up with. I guess in the meantime, though, I'm gonna go see what's going on in the football game. We're up 14-0. Good stuff, good stuff. Good stuff. That needs to go on the second monitor, so I will... Once again, I am completely a professional. I would never watch football on a second monitor while casting a StarCraft 2 Team League, so don't you guys worry about that in the slightest. We're still just waiting on their next player. Oh yeah, I gotta go on this here casting couch. Do you know who their next player is Mullah. So we are going to stalk their clan. That's the wrong person. And we're just gonna see what race he is right fast. Looks like he could be a Terran, bro. Yep. Looks like he is a Terran player. So, gonna be going into a ZVT next. We are still just waiting. Once I know something, you guys will know something, so. Alright, you know what? Screw this. I'm just gonna... I didn't want to do this through parties, but... we're gonna do it through parties. So, Because it seems like doing it without parties is not getting it done, so let's try it this way. Do have Mullah here in the party finally. Like, for some reason when you try to suggest not doing stuff in party, people like just freak out and lose their minds. So looks like we do finally have their next player. Do these games and these stupid ads drive me nanas. Still doesn't know which map he wants, so I'm gonna be waiting a little bit longer here. Looks like we're getting a co-caster of some measure in one of the next games. Derby said he wanted to jump in and co-cast. Haven't heard a word from him since then. So, don't know if he's going to be joining us or not. We are jumping to Amerton for the next map. Amatrin. Okay. Not Amerton, Amatrin. So. Looks like Daraboo may be here, but his mic is not making noises. At least from his mouth. I'm gonna get these guys in the party. Gonna decide what skins they're gonna use. Baby Sea Cow's gonna use Simulant. And Mullah is going to use... let's give him the new ones. Do I have Daraboo muted? No, I do not. We're gonna make us referees. Let's see if I turn Daraboo all the way up. If that does anything. Nope, still no Daraboo. And I'm gonna turn him down in case he gets it figured out, so it doesn't destroy my ears. Alright. I see him lighting up. Hold on. Ah! I wonder if it's screwed with my audio settings. These guys are ready, so we're gonna leave Daraboo in this game. Hopefully we can get him figured out. I'm gonna check my input device is microphone. I'll pause. Which output device do I use? Output device is okay.
Hello.
Ah, I got you now.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, hey, I was just on Discord with other people, so there's no way I can't be my input device. Or maybe it was, who knows.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, but like twice earlier, Streamlabs just randomly switched my microphone to another one that I don't even have plugged in. And now Discord did the same thing with my speakers, my mic, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, it looks like we have a TVZ. This is my favorite matchup, by the way. So
Yes!
it'll be good.
Good TVZ here on Amatron. Down on the bottom left. For the BornGosus, it is Boomlin, aka the baby sea cow. Up here in the top right, for Cryptic, it is Mullah. So, we'll have to see what these guys do. I know I've been venturing into the Zerg lands on the ladders, and in high plat, low diamond, there is a lot of meching going on right now.
Well, so, to be fair, I think it's also easier to just play mech.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Like, definitely you can get a lot more out of your stuff without really having to control it. And it's obviously also just easy to defend, because you just make a bunch of siege tanks.
Yeah, just make some siege tanks and some Hellions with some Cyclones in there, and you'll be good to go for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, is it conducive to like winning games? Maybe, maybe not, but is it easier? For sure.
Yeah, I definitely think if your goal just is to climb on the ladder, then you should definitely be playing Mecha's Terran in at least 2 of the 3 matchups.
Yeah, the matchup it's harder to play in, obviously, is TVP, for example.
Yep.
That's probably the matchup you would shy away from it the most. But it's still doable, for sure. Anyway, looks pretty standard so far. The Terran player is SCV scouting, so if you'll see, everything is pretty normal.
Yep, Baby Seagull has not decided to do any crazy early pulls or anything like that, so not going to be getting any sauce from him this game. But big thing's going to be, I'm guessing, well, I was going to say based on what the Terran's doing so far, it doesn't look like mech, but this still could be Cyclones coming off of this gas count, so, or not Cyclones, but Hellions.
Yeah, well, basically, especially in TVZ, basically Terran can delay what they want to go for a pretty long time, right? That's why it's also the safest and the most standard to open 1-1-1, like 1 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, and a 3rd command center, and then you can basically do anything afterwards. So he doesn't have to make his decision until probably 4 or 5 minutes at least.
Yeah.
Because Hellions are just really good in TVZ. It lets you be out on the map, you know, kind of like poke away. And also, if the Zerg player skips out on making army units, which sometimes they will, because they want to be greedy, then your Hellions can punish that by running into mineral lines, because Queens, although Queens fight Hellions very well, Queens can't stop Hellions from running around.
Yes, for sure. Again, You don't really want to fight a queen with 4 Hellions, but you kind of can. But for sure, you can just run past them with that. Looks like Baby Sea Cow's just getting his speed up. And we do see what you were saying, where Terran is basically just going 1-1-1. He is building a tech lab, so could be going Banshees with the start port he's building, or it could just be for early stem or something like that. We'll find out here in a few minutes. Looks like it is just going to be for stem because he is making, well, he's making a Viking, so he could kill the Overlord and then switch it off, I guess, if he wanted to.
Yeah, Viking is definitely the more defensive option. It's a control option. You want to deny vision on the map. But when you make a Viking, obviously you don't have a Liberator or a Banshee, so there's no threat of harassment with your starport unit, really.
Yep, for sure. So we'll definitely see what he decides to do. With him only making 1 Marine, that makes me think he's going to want to switch this starport over, because it's just kind of odd to make a Marine.
It is a choice. So when you, let's say the Terran player decides to transition to Bio after this, you do have the choice whether or not to make Marines. Making Marines makes it more safe because Mullah is going to make a wall off, probably with the 3rd CC or something else, and the Hellions will be out on the map, right? Let's say the Zerg player decides to counterattack. Having more Marines helps deflect the link counterattack on the wall.
All these Hellions are freaking out down here. Okay.
You know what probably happened? He probably had the Hellions rally to one of the units here.
No, he's got them all patrolling. He had them patrolling like that on purpose.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that was amazing.
So what Mullah is doing here is very good. What he can do is just, he cleared the links. Now he's going to run in and kill a bunch of drones.
Yep, Baby Sea Cow just... Yeah, it looks like it. He just didn't have enough... He didn't have enough stuff. I think he thought there was something coming off of that starport and he didn't pay attention to the Hellions or something like that. I don't know. He didn't make enough Queens, he didn't make enough Zerglings, he didn't make enough anything really.
Yeah,
so what
actually led up to that was the Hellions picked off the links for free. What you want to do when you're the Zerg player in ZBT, you don't actually want your links sitting in the front. Your Queens actually want to be in the front. Because when your Queens are in the front, you know, they can tank the Hellions, and if the Hellions dive in, then you bring the links.
Yeah, there's a Liberator setting up shop on the 3rd base, gonna kill this Queen.
Oh, this is not a wall.
It's basically fully... Oh yeah, it's not. There's a space in between that. Where is the space? Is it a wall now?
It is a wall now.
Well, it was a wall. It's about to not be a wall. Just run the Banelings into the supply depot where he's...
I don't think he realized he had to spawn them. Yeah.
Alright, the Viking's gonna hold the wall for a little bit. He is killing 20 workers, so he's basically just evened up this game by getting Lings in here because this wasn't a wall.
Yeah. Obviously, I think the Terran is still in a slightly better spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Like in this matchup, because of the way it is, like Zerg usually drones up quicker. Terran makes up, even though they have less workers, because when you have 3 orbitals, you can constantly mule until you decide to move out on the map. By the way, this looks like Bio.
Yep.
There's a lot of barracks.
There's 7 barracks now, so it's definitely gonna be... I don't think there's no way he can produce off of 7 barracks off of 2 bases.
No, he can't.
Especially with 31 workers. Even if this was fully saturated, I don't think he could do it.
No, when you have 2 bases fully saturated, you can produce off 5 barracks, a factory, and a starport. So even though he has this many, he can't do anything with it. So basically, it just looks like
he just
build order that is not optimized. That's okay.
Nah, I know what he went. At some point, he was like, oh shit, I'm floating a lot of money. What do I do? Let's just build barracks. That's probably exactly what he did, but...
I mean, you know what? He has 3 command centers, right? So eventually he'll use them. He doesn't have to use them now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not the worst idea, because you don't really have to fully produce out of everything at this point, but, I mean...
So there's a double drop coming out.
It is going to the main base, it looks like. Is that where he has it rallied to?
Yeah, so Mullah has not started his combat shields, which is very important.
Yep. And Boomlin does have an Overlord here, so he's going to scout this as soon as it comes in. Just depends on how fast he reacts and pulls his Lings, which are all at his third base.
When you don't have combat shields, Banelings one-shot the Marines, so...
So what you're saying is, if Boomlin gets over here, this is not going to go well for the Terran player.
Yeah, I mean, the good part about medevacs is you can just pick up and leave.
Yeah, looks like Boomlin
Right.
has finally scouted this, so gonna lose this whole mineral line.
Yeah, this is pretty bad,
Yep,
obviously.
and he is going to pick up most of his Marines and get out. So there we go.
So
He
18 drones were killed. That's really bad.
yep, resetting Boomlin back down to 30 workers. He has managed to get back up to 50 himself, so he's in a pretty good position here. Another double drop getting loaded out to the north side of the map. Looks like he may finally lose all the Marines on this south side. Nope, just gonna pick him. And this is why you never take this base against Terran, for this reason right here. Just bounce.
For sure.
Just
Or
bounce.
if you're going to, make sure you have a ton of creep.
Yeah.
So right now there's no creep.
He does have
He should
creep up
probably take
here
the-
on the north though, so he's gonna see this second drop that's here.
Yeah. So, the Terran player is in a really good spot. He has double upgrades completing. However, he doesn't have an armory, so he will be stuck on 1-1 until the armory finishes.
Yeah. So Boomlin did see this drop up here, so he's repositioned his lings pretty well. The Renal drop, which only has 3 lings coming back in, so it's not gonna do a super crazy amount. He does already have some lings rallied up here, so gonna clear that out. He did push
Yeah,
away the
I mean,
drop up
it's
at the
not-
north, so
What he's doing is still good. He's trading very well with his drop. So,
yeah.
and you also want to have the drop out because you want to make sure the Zerg player is not greeting and like skipping out on making units, especially with all the economic damage that was done. You want to make sure you have this out so the Zerg player feels forced to make army units and not drones, because if they make drones, that's how they catch up.
Yep, for sure. Which is what we're seeing. Boomlin is doing a decent job of droning and making army at the same time, so he's gotten back up to a fairly respectable drone count so far. Started to put in some Hydras, making some more Banelings. There is a giant army moving up to the north side of the map, which he is not
Yeah.
prepared for at all, though.
I mean, there's so much eco damage, it would be very difficult to win the game. The game, I believe, is over.
Yeah. It's definitely not looking good for our boy. I mean, even if he cleans this army up here, there's another army that's basically formed already in the natural of the Terran player. So,
Right, and also, like he basically took game-ending damage from the Hellions,
Yeah.
and he kind of came back a little bit, but he was still not in a good spot. And then a double drop really just sealed the game by killing 18 drones.
Yep. For sure. Just at this point, we're just waiting on the Terran player basically just to keep pushing in. Like, this is one of the things in TVZ, especially if you get behind as a Zerg player. Like, the Terran's gonna push in with one army, and then by the time you kill that, they're gonna have another army fully made behind it, and you're probably gonna trade your whole army to kill the first one, so you're never gonna be able to deal with the second one, which is basically what we're seeing here. He kind of cleaned up some of this, and there's the other army coming back. So
I mean, the story was pretty much told in the supply, right? It was like 80 supply to 140, so it would be pretty difficult to win, no matter what kind of connects or units you have. Because, you know, more stuff just beats less stuff.
Yep, that is the golden rule of StarCraft 2, is more beats less. So GG's there. We're gonna get next player in, which is going to be Furious Styles. So we got another ZVP or ZVT coming up.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. The Mullah demonstrated some really standard bio play in TVZ. Opening with Hellions and then going into Biotank. Obviously, the Hellions did so much damage that game, right? So all Mullah really had to do was just pretty much sit at home, wait for a big army to build up, and then walk across the map, which is what he did. So that was good from him.
Yep. So, some good stuff there. I know, like I said, I've been playing Zerg, so there's a couple times when I've just forgotten to make units and then lost to the first aliens that walk across the map or the first Hellbats, and yeah, I just usually wind up leaving that game because there's no way that you're gonna come back from losing 30 workers like that unless the Terran just their brain explodes or something like that.
Yeah, like opening Hellions is, yeah, it's just really good, right? Like, let's say there's some kind of aggression with Ling Bane, and you make Hellions, the Hellions blind counter that. The Zerg player makes just enough army units, then it's kind of like a noob check, you know? It's like, hey, did you make like enough army? If you did, then you don't have to do anything with the Hellions. You just kind of sit around, right?
Yep, basically. So we see one of the fun things about the Nydus League in particular is that nobody knows what any of the maps are. So
yeah, I haven't seen any of these maps before.
Mullah is taking a second to look at the map real fast, so
yeah, and I'm gonna take a second to get some water. I'll be back in a bit.
Yep, for sure. So I know Gigantha is not one of the maps that you usually see in anything really. Amerton was in, or Ametrin was in the map pool last season. So that one will be familiar to at least some of the players out there who did play in last season's Nydus. But probably not a lot of them around. Both players are ready, so we're going to start this thing up. And it's going to be Gigantha. I think this was probably a play on words of Gigantha. Mapmaker just... Oh no, I picked the porcupine drone skins. No! That's unfortunate. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, though. The green Zerg player for BornGosu does Fury Styles. And up here in the top right-hand corner, trying to take his second map in the row, the red Terran player for Cryptic, it is Mullah. So far, nothing crazy. Looks like Mullah is going gas first. Not sure if he did this last game. Didn't really pay that much attention to the opener, as I am wont to do. So we'll see what these guys do have in store though. So Furious going just standard 17 hatch here. So, pretty standard stuff here for the Zerg. Same for the Terran. Looks like he's probably going to go just standard Reaper fast expand yet again. It's called the standard build for a reason. It is pretty good. And that is what we're seeing. So, Fierce, of course, does have a small advantage here in this game, as do all players who play somebody who played. He could be watching the stream for the last game, and if he was, then he will know exactly what his opponent did last time. So we'll see what his response is going to be, and it does look like it's going to be basically the same build from Mullah. So, which, no big surprises there. It's a very good build, as Daraboo was talking about. I'm gonna be kind of honest, I was hoping we'd see some battle cruisers out of this game. So love me some battle cruisers. But that is not going to be the case. At least it doesn't look like it. So only one guy still in the second gas. If you're gonna go battle cruisers, you want to get that gas ASAP. Cause them battle cruisers need that gas, yo. Do see speed finishing up. Third base already here. Reaper coming in. I think this is a Special Forces Reaper. It's not the Guerrilla Arms Reaper. And I'm not sure if Daraboo's back. If he is, he's still got his mic muted, so he'll need to fix that. We do see Starport coming out. 111 coming through again. More Hellions. We'll see if Fury Styles remembers to make units or not. I don't think he saw these units yet. He does see them now, so definitely need to make some Zerglings. This should for sure give him knowledge of what his opponent's going. If there was any doubt before, he definitely knows now. So, I mean, he's playing a TVT, or a TVZ, or ZVT, however you want to look at it there. Shouldn't really be any surprises that his opponent would be going for Hellions. He does have a decent amount of queens. He's bringing them all to the front, so Mullah not going to be able to dive into the natural this game like he did against our boy the Sea Cow last game. He could try to bounce the queens up with the Reaper and then scoot by, but not sure if that's what he's going to try or not. Queens look like they want to fight, so they're going to push those guys out. Behind this, though, he's going bunker, finishing his wall off, getting 4 more barracks. So this guy just, it looks like he just wants to get his production up before he even worries about getting any units. We do see Liberator has managed to sneak into the main base, though.
Oh,
Picked
hey.
off 4 workers, and Daraboo's back.
It looks like a pretty standard game happened.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. He went for basically the same build that he did last time. Hellions into this Liberator. Furious did wall off his natural with his queens, though, so Hellions weren't able to get in. And looks like he's going for a roach attack behind this, so.
Yeah, walling with or like having 2 buildings and then making the rest of the wall with your queens is definitely a way you can prevent Hellions from getting in.
Yep, for sure. So he did a good job there on keeping them out. Not sure if this is going to be a... I was going to say I wasn't sure if it's going to be a super aggro build. I did see a Nydus making... and it looks like it's going again, so he's just going to go for a Nydus.
Yeah, so Mullah actually did not go for a 3rd command center here. So he should definitely have more than enough units for this Nydus worm, especially because he's also making like marauders, you know?
The thing is, he's done the same thing he did last time, and instead of making units while he was pushing, he just made barracks. Like, he's already up to 6 barracks, I think. So,
also, did some workers just die?
Yes, there was another Liberator in the natural.
Yeah, he actually is making a lot of Liberators for this matchup. Normally, Liberators are kind of relegated to a harassment unit early on in ZVT, because you know what, they're actually pretty bad against Zerglings, for example.
Yes. They are pretty decent against roaches if you can get them set up in the right position, though.
Right, but also,
You see the Nydus coming in.
Oh, Oh, hey, Nydus Worm's here.
Nydus is going to finish. It's not going to go down. He is going to get all of his units unloaded. He has zero... Nope, I lied. He has a single siege tank. So, it's not going to be super easy for him to break this. The good thing for him is he set his base up in a way that it's going to be hard for Furious to get through this double layer of production. There is another Nydus coming in the natural, though. One of the Lord Raiders is moving over. Looks like he's going to load everything back up, and he's going to go into the natural now. So,
Yeah, so Furious Styles actually laid a pretty sneaky creep tumor, which is really good. What you do when you Nydus. Terran has to spend scans to clear it, which is definitely something they don't want to do. They want a mule.
Yeah, he does focus the first Liberator down with his queens. So that Liberator does go down. He has killed 20 workers so far. He's continuing to kill more because basically nothing down here for the Terran player. He did clean up the original Nydus Worm, so if he wants to hopscotch back into the main, he's going to have to lay down another one, which, as everybody was talking about, he has the tumor up there, so that will be no problem whatsoever. Going to load back up in there, and he is popping back over to the main, so...
This is great for Furious Styles because he also has... He still has a higher worker count than a Terran player, especially with that many workers being killed.
Yep, and this is very APM taxing on the player trying to defend this too. You got to get everything set back up. You're trying to remake units. He does have 4 siege tanks here, so I think he's actually going to be fine. Furious really needs to disengage from this attack and drone up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, especially because obviously there's Stim, there's Marines, and there's also finally medevac support. So any more future attacks should be pretty easy to hold. You should just drone up the 3 bases, get a 4th.
Yeah, get his Hydras
probably,
going, get his banelings, like, just start transitioning into that next
whatever he
wants.
decides, yeah, for sure.
Looks like he is starting to do that a little bit. Some drones coming down. Needs to saturate these gases. He does realize his natural is heavily saturated. There is a double drop loading up for our Terran player. There are 2 changelings moving across the map which may catch this, and
something that
like
Furious Styles did that the previous Zerg player didn't, Joe, is there's creep tumors in his main base, which helps spot these kind of drops coming in.
Yep, and he does have a nice spread of overlords, so looks like he is thinking that this is a possibility. So he's going ahead and ringing his bases with these overlords, which are, of course, when they're in the open sea like this, they're basically just free detectors. Like, you're never going to get around these without being seen.
Yeah, so the medevacs are now in vision. We'll see if he managed to see this or not, because I don't think this is being spotted.
No, I don't think he has spotted it yet. Looks like he is deciding on his next tech, which is going to be Mutalisk. So, he's going to see it now. Fortunately,
popped.
Yep. Fortunately for him, the Zerg, or the Terran, did focus on the Nydus Worm instead of going into his mineral line. Because if he had done that, then he would have lost all of his workers there. So, Terran player actually did him a little bit of a positive. It's not great, but...
Yeah, obviously you don't want your tech structure getting sniped.
Oh no!
You wanna...
Poor Overseer.
If you want, like, having the Nydus Worm just keeps the Terran player on their toes, you know? So.
Yeah. Looks like this is finally going to get pushed away, though. But, as Terran players are wont to do, he's just loading up another medevac. There's this...
Yeah.
I don't know if this still happens in Masters, but there's this weird section of the ladder, like high plat, low diamond, where the Terrans think that the ground is lava and they can't walk across it, so they just constantly load up medevacs and just drop them all over the place, which...
Yeah, I don't think it's... generally speaking, I don't like characterizing things into like a league thing, because it's... Like, I feel like if I say those kinds of things and I'm like, huh, am I saying this because it's true, or am I saying this because I only have experience with this kind of thing? So I try to just like think about it. But definitely that is a playstyle where you send out drops and then you have the rest of your units kind of just turtle at home. Because like, especially if you're good at getting value out of your drops, because the good thing about drops, if it doesn't work, you just pick up and leave, hopefully, right?
Yeah. I do see roaches moving into about 8 siege tanks, so not going to work out well for him. Did just lose everything. Terran didn't even have to stem for that, so looks like this drop has basically, or this drop play has done basically what it wanted and has just completely discombobulated Furious Styles in this game. So
Yeah, for sure. Even though Furious Styles had much better economy for the majority of the game, his army was much weaker, or is just not built to fight this kind of army.
yep, for
So
sure.
it looks like the game's over,
Yep.
pretty much.
And there we see the GG. So we're going to work on getting our next player in here. And we'll see what the next map's going to be. It is going to be Alex TG coming up, so so it's going to be another TVT. So it's a good thing I have a Daribu here, so I don't have to talk about things like
Terran
sea snakes
specific things.
running back and forth. And
I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Personally, I think TBT is pretty cool to watch. I don't really enjoy playing it because, yeah, it's a matchup I need to work on personally. But it's cool to watch for me.
alright, I'm gonna link the maps to Alex.
Mhm.
So we'll see what map he does want. I know the last few TVTs of Alex's that I've seen have been pretty solid, so seems like a matchup that he is fairly comfortable in. Which, considering that he plays with all of you guys all the time, he should be pretty comfortable in TVT.
I mean, you say that, but my TBT is pretty bad. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, some of his past TBTs, he's definitely demonstrated like a good understanding of how to play, with especially just like gaining air dominance. Because that's one of the ways you play TBTs. You gain air dominance because air units are pretty much the only way to kill tanks, right? Otherwise, tanks just it's very difficult to just run in against tank lines.
Yep, for sure. And he's good at reading and reacting to playstyles too. So that's something that I've seen. Like, I know the last, was it ATL or VTL Pro game that I cast of his, the guy who was playing went mech and he scouted it and just like insta switched into the mech counter.
It's definitely like a practice reaction for sure. Because like mech, if you're the bio player and you play against mech, that's like one of the two ways that you can choose to play against it. It's just like get air dominance, because obviously, if you think about it, right, all mech units basically cost gas in some way. Even the production facility costs gas. The only unit that doesn't cost gas is Hellions, right?
Yep.
So if they spend that much gas on like factory units, and the Terran player is like, oh, like most of the meat of my army is just minerals, so that means that the bio player has much more gas to make starport units. And the other play style is just like drop the shit out, like basically play hyper aggressive. But that's pretty hard.
That comes with its risks as well. Like if you get, alright, he does want an extraction. It looks like so.
Yeah, if you decide not to go for air control and you want to just like hit and run, it can be really hard because you'd have to keep up the pressure for like most of the game to prevent the mech player from setting up defensive positions everywhere, right? Like missile turret rings, planetary fortress, siege tanks in good spots, etc.
Yeah.
Like that takes some time to set up for sure, but once that's set up and you're the bio player and you don't have air control, it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, and we kind of saw that earlier. I don't know if you were watching Rook's game.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it.
He did not have the best air unit control, let's just say.
Hmm.
But he was able to just outproduce his opponent. Like, he threw away his Ravens and his Vikings early in the game and just decided, screw it, let's just stop making air units and just make a bunch of Marines and stuff. And his opponent just made a lot of Vikings, and I think he snapped off a couple of drops his opponent sent in.
So this is an interesting TVT map because I actually just played this map last week, and it was a TVT. So the where the natural is, right? Like because of where the minerals are positioned, you can actually position tanks across, and then have a drop land on the mineral line, and the tanks kind of just cover for you.
Yep, for sure. I remember seeing that in the game that you played last week.
Yeah, and it was also a TVT, so we'll see how that goes in this match.
So Alex, of course, giving his customary dryness to his opponents. Looks like I need to fill in the casting tool because I was distracted. And we are on extraction. There we go. It's updated. So we good, and I'm on the right screen. Dang, I'm a professional caster. Up here in the top right, it is Alex TG for BornGosu, and in the bottom left-hand corner for Cryptic Gaming, it is Mullah. So let's see what all happens. I know the games on these maps that we've seen have been interesting.
What does Alex mean by this?
I think he means it's just a reskin of King Sejong Station from Heart of the Swarm.
I haven't played on that, so I wouldn't know. Anyway,
yeah, I haven't either.
So something that people do in this matchup, they open double gas. I'm sure you've played something like PvP where people open with 2 gates instead of 1. It's kind of similar concept. Just because it's a mirror matchup, you just need like more units early. That's just how it is.
Yep, and it seems to be like a stylistic difference too, because I know a lot of people will do this. I know Lizard loves his Reaper fast expands. Like even in TVD, sure, he Reaper fast expands. He doesn't go.
It's just a choice. For when you Reaper fast expand, the double gas player has a slower CC obviously, but then they get the priority in the map because they get more units earlier. It's just how it is. And double gas is also a soft counter to proxy 2 racks Reaper, just because you can have the Hellion out a lot faster. You don't need to make a bunker. But obviously Reaper fast expand, better economically. There's a little bit of a pressure against the double gas player to play aggressively.
Yep, because you don't want to just let him get away with that super huge economic boon at the beginning of the game. I know.
I mean, it's not huge. Like you can still play out the game if you don't do anything, but it's just the choice and kind of a gamble.
Yep. Looks like Mullah is trying to be annoying with his SCV, but Reaper gonna pop out, and he's just gonna sacrifice it to the Reaper gods.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have. Generally speaking, in this matchup, you should probably 17 scout if you want to check anything at all. Yeah, like because you want to check is there a barracks at home? Is it like a normal Reaper fast expand, etc. So that timing is for the SCV scout. I think it's pretty poor, to be honest. Like the way with 17 scout, you can scout the base and you leave much before the Reaper pops out, right? And you can still save the SCV. That SCV can continue to mine when it comes home. But now, obviously, for Mullah, he loses an SCV for free, pretty much.
Yep, and he's basically going to have to follow up Scout at some point just to confirm that Alex is actually taking a command center. So he's going to have to get in here and make sure he's not getting hit with some kind of crazy 1-1-1 with Liberators or something like that off of one base. But as we can see, Alex not doing that. He is just going for basically the stock standard Terran opener at this point.
For sure. Oh, so this is another thing. You really don't want to walk up a ramp when you play TVT.
I mean, you don't ever want to walk up a ramp, but especially in TVT at this stage.
Yeah, because you have the same units pretty much, right? So So Mullah is going to be in a very bad spot because the early game for TVT is pretty much dominated by Reaper Hellion. It's the same concept when you play in TVZ. The Hellions can be out on the map, provide map control, and this is a mirror matchup, right? So it's going to be really bad for Mullah. He will be unable to mine from the
Oh
natural.
wow,
Oh, this is not a wall.
that Reaper got, and those Reapers of Alex got some amazing hits on those Hellions of Mullah.
Okay, I think the game's over. Game's
Yeah.
over.
He's in a bad spot because he's not going. He doesn't even have a Cyclone coming up behind this. He's just making more Reapers. He has a Raven that's going to come drop an auto turret, but all Alex has to do is run away from that, and then the Raven is basically invalidated. So yeah, he's in a very bad spot. Is Mullah?
So 12 workers have already been killed, and he is still losing workers.
He's going to clear out basically every single worker here. If he macros those Hellions, I mean, even at this point, he doesn't even really need to macro the Reaper. Like, just psych him off, go back, build an army, and just push across the map. Like, he's in
So
such
the
a good
reason
position.
Mullah didn't I guess he didn't make a tech lab he didn't make a cyclone because he lost the few Reapers and Hellions early, right? So he wants to just continuously make units. He doesn't have time to make that on. But that didn't work out because he didn't wall off his main. That's why you wall off your main.
Yep. So
If he walled up his main, he would have obviously gotten his natural denied from mining for a little bit, but it's much better than what just happened. Because what just happened, Alex pretty much just sit at home and he can do whatever he wants. And unless Alex decides to throw away multiple armies, the game should be over.
yep. All Alex has to do is really build up an army with 2 Ravens in it, save up some energy, grab some tanks, and then just go push across the map. Because at that point, you lock down the 1 or 2 tanks that your opponent's been able to get, and then just cruise across the map. But it's like we did see a auto turret coming in. Did get 2 workers. One of them was building a supply depot, and we see a Banshee coming in. So interesting choice here, especially when you know that the meta in TVT is to go multiple Ravens, going Banshee. I'm not sure about that decision.
Well,
I know he's just trying to
maybe
he's
he's
trying to
thinking-
do something, but I don't know.
yeah. He just wants to. He's not producing cloak either. He just wants an air unit to keep the Terran player at home. Because right now, if Alex walks across the map, which he is about to do, pretty much Mullah should just lose here. He has no units. So the Banshee probably just wants to like run around the mineral lines, maybe. But there's a Cyclone at home, right? So, and there's no cloak.
Yep.
It's pretty much a desperation play. But
Yep.
what can you do, right? You lost so many workers at the beginning.
Yeah. He does have his 3 Ravens, so he's gonna be able to lock down any tanks of Mullah's, which, spoiler alert, there are 0 tanks currently on the map, so he's going to be able
Yeah.
to use these for either anti-armor missiles or auto turrets. Or I guess he could,
Early on, auto turrets are actually really good in TBT. Just because, like, if you think about the kind of units you make, right? You make Reapers, Hellions, maybe a Cyclone or 2, and you have Siege tanks, which may or may not be sieged. And, like, the Siege tanks are obviously very good against Bio because they do splash damage, but turrets are pretty tanky. They do actually a good amount of damage, especially when a Terran player doesn't have any upgrades early, right? No stim, no +1, or like their mech units don't have upgrades. So you just drop a bunch of auto turrets and then bam, it's gonna be good. So there's gonna be Disable coming in, probably a bunch of auto turrets, and yeah.
yeah,
Game
Disable's the
is-
only tank that's there. Drops 3 auto turrets, getting his tank sieged up. The boys are going to be pulled, but they're going to get stuck up against the Marines, and he's forced to pull his command center up. He did bring the Raven back home, almost got it sniped off. Alex has killed 15 more workers. The Banshee, I have no idea where the Banshee went, but it hasn't killed any workers, I can tell you that. Did the Banshee get snapped off?
Yeah, it's done.
It did, yep, okay. So, great position here from Alex. He's basically just victory marching across the map. He's gonna drop some auto turrets. Mullah dropping some auto turrets. We just got turrets everywhere. Tank is coming online to get snapped off by the Marines, and Mullah has a GG out. So, unfortunate for Mullah that he did run up that ramp, which you were talking about in the early game, which led him to losing all of his units and let Alex just steamroll through the game at that point. So just a snowball that started moving down the hill that he couldn't stop at that point.
Yeah.
And
I mean, nice try. Nice try.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Good job from Alex realizing too early on that he could just go kill all of his opponent's stuff, because if your opponent has no workers, they can't make units, therefore you cannot lose the game. So Alex evening the score up. We'll have to see who their next player is going to be. It is going to be their first Masters player. And there are no limits on the MMR for these sets, so we could see 2 5,300 players in a row coming out. So we'll have to see here. It's gonna be a surprise for us here, and a surprise for you guys, because if we don't know, then you certainly don't know. So
Yeah, we'll see. I'm actually hoping for a Protoss player. I actually want to see some TVP after watching the game earlier where Spoon played against a Terran player. Thought that was a great game, actually.
Yep, that was a really good game. He looked like he was dead like 7 times in that game, and he managed to.
Yeah, especially because his first big push got crushed, but then there was like Spoon did some very good harassment to make sure he was still in the game. So
Yep.
I thought that was a good scrappy game.
Yep, it was like a combination of just really good resilient play, and then his opponent forgetting a couple of upgrades for a little while.
Yeah, if his opponent actually, if his opponent got the new EMP upgrade, he would win the game, in my opinion.
If he would have got that upgrade, and if he would have ever remembered his...
What is it called? EMP Shockwave or something?
Zero clue.
I want to say it's like Shockwave or something. Let me actually take a look. It's probably in the
I'm sure
hotkeys.
I'm sure it's in the patch notes or hotkeys, yeah, somewhere like that. So
let's take a look. It should be in the Ghost upgrades building. It's called Enhanced Shockwaves.
Yeah, looks like we do have their next player. It is going to be Mayhem, who is a Masters 2 Zerg player. So we are getting some more TVZ.
Some more TVZ. That's gonna be good. I'm no spoilers, but I do like watching Alex play TVZ. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep, for sure. We won't talk about spoilers just yet. Once the game starts, we'll give you guys some spoilers, because I have seen some Alex TVZs in VTL Pro and such. So are some good games there, but we'll see what he does. Looks like Mayhem has joined. Jag, Crystal, and what's the other map that we played on? Amatron. So, gonna let Mayhem know what maps are left so he can get us our map. I have a feeling probably won't want to play on Lotus. That doesn't seem like a great ZVT map, just because of the way that it's laid out. It does have an easily accessible gold base though, which Zerg players might like. This is why I like Nydus though. Usually, at a certain point in the season, it gets down to where you're playing the same 3 or 4 maps all the time. I don't like that. That's boring.
Yeah.
That's boring.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, but obviously it's not like you probably wouldn't want, for example, on ladder, you don't want the maps to switch around all the time, right? Because you're just getting kind of like used to like certain maps, because maps balancing the races and like how the matchups work is definitely a thing, right? Even just play styles, like the bigger or smaller the map is, the kind of obstacles there are, even just like terrain and stuff, you know, like that stuff is really important. So having these kind of like new maps, right? Like for example, we didn't see it in that last game, but the way the mineral line even was just like positioned for the natural, it's balanced. It balanced or it imbalances how some matchups work, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like you were talking about, it's really good for tank pushes on
Yeah,
that
you
map
just the
specifically.
tanks. Yeah. Yeah.
And we
I
are going
mean,
to Monument, which is one of the maps I was kind of thinking about. I know Crystallizer too. I don't know if you've watched any of the games that have been played on that, but that's Monument. That's an insane map for Battle Mech, especially.
I think I did see something about that.
Jesus Christ, I can't spell. Alright, we are gonna get Monument loaded up after I tried to call it Monument multiple times. So. We got it in the end though. Let me get the players in their spots. Make us referees. And we are letting them know that we are ready when they are. Looks like Mayhem is ready. Alex is no longer dry. We're gonna assume that means that he's ready. If he's not, well, he is now. Let it be known, you come in with stuff that doesn't say ready. If you say you're wet in a team league,
I have no
and
idea.
nobody knows what that means, then we're just gonna start. So you better be ready. So we're getting loaded in here to Monument, which I like this map too. This is the map that we saw Darabu play a game that we will not talk about too much here.
Oh yeah, that was not a good game.
Earlier
I
today.
Yeah, it could have gone better. Anyway.
Over in the top left, it is Mayhem. In the bottom right hand corner, it is Alex TG. Hopefully, we will see no manor hatcheries this game.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Honestly, this map looks pretty easy to defend the first 3 bases, especially. And it's, to be honest, I think it's a pretty big map, so we should see a fairly long game.
Yeah, we're gonna
I'm
wait.
hoping it's a long game. We'll see.
We'll wait a couple more minutes before we talk about some strategies we may come out, just in case. You never know. But looks like
I'm sure we'll see it. You know.
I mean, yeah, we will, but I always like to give a couple minutes before we talk strategies, just in case. I know most players aren't going to be watching the stream, but you never know.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Hatch first, and the barracks are home. So far, pretty standard.
Yep, pretty
I'm liking
standard
it. I'm liking it.
Alright, I think that's probably enough time. So, most of the last few TVZs that I've seen, and you can weigh on this because I know you guys play a lot together, Alex has been going and favoring mech.
Yeah, for sure. Hold on, someone's at the door. You're gonna talk about it by yourself for a bit.
Yep. Darabu's got a caller, so he's gonna go deal with that. But yeah, like I was saying, Alex has been playing a lot of mech in these team leagues. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that, and it's not even been... Did I switch over the scene? I didn't. Alright. Stop yelling at me. I got it. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine in 2 minutes. He has been playing a lot of mech, and not battle mech. He's been playing old school, multi-tank, Thor, like, old school mech. So, we'll have to see if he does pull some of that out. Alright. Do see Alex getting in here with his Reaper. Does force out a Spore Crawler from the Zerg. pretty standard stuff here. Alex is over here at the third base trying to keep Mayhem delayed for a little bit, but Mayhem does get in there. We do see 1-1-1 coming out. Alex, he is switching these over. He is starting up Hellion production here. And yeah, pretty standard stuff here. Speed's about to finish up for our Zerger. And we do see a Liberator coming out too, so Alex definitely wanting to get out on the map, which is usually something that you want to do against the Zerg. Because you never want them to just get their eco going completely unchecked, because that's bad. You do see a couple of Hellions here with the Reaper, but Mayhem has more than enough Queens already in place.
I'm back.
Darabu is back, so you didn't miss much. Alex just getting some Hellions out on the map, getting a rebuked by the Queens. I think that's the word. Alex is starting tank production, and he is adding on a second factory. So yep, we are going to see mech out of Alex, which is kind of what I was hoping for, to be honest. Although he's going to have to move this second factory that he's making because he has no spot for an add-on right where it's at right now.
Yeah. So just Hellions and then a Liberator. This is extremely standard.
Yeah. He is pulling attention down here to these Hellions at the same time as the Liberator sneaks in. Mayhem does already have a Spore in a place, but Alex is going to get... Yeah, he's getting into a good position here, so... Let's see if he pays attention to Liberator. He does. He pulls it back out, so... We can bounce it down to this third base. There's no Spore or Queens here.
Yeah, so far so good for Alex. He only lost a Hellion in exchange for 3 drones. It's a trade you take every time. It's super annoying for the Zerg player to keep pulling the workers, moving the Spore around. Just being a dick, you know? And everything counts, right? You're trying to get your build, you're trying to get your timings right, and then this dickhead Liberator is just fucking with you.
Yep. He was moving it down here to the natural. Good job by Alex. Sometimes you'll see, even in pro play, you'll just see somebody sit a Liberator and then forget about it, but Alex is not doing that. He is paying constant attention to the Liberator, moving it around, not just letting it die. As I say that, yeah, it looks like he's just going to let it sit there and die, so... Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean...
But, I mean, it got 7 workers,
so... pay attention to your build, make sure your stuff's coming out on time.
Yeah,
so we see Magfield Accelerator being researched, which usually indicates this is battle mech because you want to make Cyclones and Hellions, right?
Yep, for sure.
He probably wants Blue Flame as well. It's not called Blue Flame, it's called Research Infernal Pre-Igniter, but everyone calls it Blue Flame.
No, it's Blue Flame, let's be real.
Yeah. Anyway, it's gonna just go into a normal game, you know? Both sides have 3 mining bases. I think Alex is actually in a slightly better spot. He did manage to disrupt the economy in Mayhem a little bit, and pretty much the supply also tells the story, you know? Especially when you play mech. Mech supplies, it kind of takes a while for mech to start up, right? Factories take a little bit longer to build. You need the gas. You don't get as many units out like Bio does, like as quickly, right? So.
Yep, Mayhem is trying to wrap around here, stop these Zoomy cars and Cyclones, which that is one of the ways that you can shut this down, is getting a nice surround like that. So he's going to pick all that off. Going to trade a lot of Lings to do it, but like you were talking about, mech does take a while to build up, so any units that you lose early is not the best, but...
Yeah, that was a good trade for Mayhem for sure. Like, that kind of like equalized it out a little bit.
Yep. Although the workers are even right now, which I would say does favor the Terran player at this point, because you usually want to be up about a base and a half of workers for... Yeah,
for sure. It's just because the mech units are... like against like lower tier Zerg units, mech units just trade really well, right? So Zerg player usually, in most matchups that aren't mirrored, you generally have like a high drone count, and you kind of just like the way the production works, right? You can afford to have your like throwaway units, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna make more units more quickly than you can because I can make them all at once.
Yep. And Alex is doing something that I like here. He showed the Cyclones early, making his opponent think it might be a battle mech, and now he's switching into your more classic siege tank base mech. So looks like he's also adding in either battle cruisers or ranged liberators. I'm not exactly sure what this will be with this fusion core.
Yeah. To be fair, it is normal to go battle mech into regular mech just because battle mech, it is good in the mid game. Like, it doesn't scale that well, right? You definitely want the other factory units. And the other reason he might have done this is just because his initial battle mech force just got destroyed, right? So might as well just go with the normal mech. Your battle mech is already not as good because you've lost the initial force that you wanted to keep adding on to.
Yeah, and that's true. And his opponent, he could have been doing tanks like your opponent could try to go into some kind of like heavy roach counter after they kill your first wave of units like that. Looks like he does have some zoomy cars across the map that are going to get pushed back by these Lings though. Blue Flame is coming out. Gundam's starting to come out. More Hellions.
Yeah, and also
more
just
tanks.
having like a small battle mech force out. It's kind of the same as like having a double drop when you play bio out, right? Part of it is to make sure that your opponent is honest and they actually have army units, and the other part is to make sure that you can check what kind of units they're making, right? You want to see it's like Lingbane, is it Roaches, is it Hydra or Nida, and so on. So battle mech in that sense also functions pretty similarly.
Yep. I don't know how much Alex has seen, but his opponent is already starting to get his infestor tech going. He has gotten neural parasite research. Doesn't have any currently on the field, and he does not have the energy upgrade. Alex is fully maxed. He has a lot of tanks. He has a lot of blue flame hellbats here, so he's in.
Mayhem is going for a counterattack. This is a very big counterattack, actually.
Yep, that is a lot of Zerglings. Alex has not a lot behind that can deal with this. Thor's not great against Lings. Neither are siege tanks. Looks like Mayhem is just going to go straight up for a base trade, is what this is looking like to me. Fortunately, Alex can just lift all of his buildings, which Lings don't shoot up. So he can lift all of his command centers while he's producing behind this. Hydras are finally coming in, so he is going to be able to shoot some of these buildings that are lifting up. Alex is getting into the third base, clearing out hatcheries. I'd really like to see him split this army into two, send some of it up towards this fourth base, some of it into the natural, because he doesn't really have to worry about units on his opponent's side of the map because he knows where all of his units are. They're over there killing all of his stuff. But Alex is in a good position supply-wise. He is taking out the hive, so not going to be able to do much. And
Alex's army is just way bigger and way better. Like, this is the reason Mayhem went for this base trade, because Mayhem just didn't have anything that could fight the Terran army.
Yeah, Mayhem did just make like 20 Mutalisk, and there are only 2 Thors over here. So Alex is going to have to get these into splash mode very quickly. He does now see the Mutalisk, so he should know that these are coming. He should be able to get them into
the Thor mode by default is splash, and it looks like he still has them in splash, so it's fine.
Yeah, so that's good there. He didn't really need the single target. You want single target for stuff like Brood Lords, Ultralisk, stuff like that. Mayhem still does have...
It's just Brood Lord and Corruptor, because the impact mode only affects the air.
That's right. I forgot how that worked. Looks like Mayhem is coming in here, getting shot by some of these Thors. There are still some Cyclones. It's like the Muta's getting on top of the Thors, but Mutas do not kill Thors very fast, so 2 Thors are going to clean up like 30 Mutalisk by themselves. It's insane.
Yeah, so looks like the game's over.
Yep, and Mayhem does have to tap out there. So Alex coming in, getting another one, taking it to the ASEP. So, good play there by Alex. He just made a strong army pushed across the map and caught his opponent trying to tech super hard with no army is basically what happened there. So some good stuff. Let's see who the next player is gonna be. Should be their last Masters player. Is it anybody in the chat? No, the chat didn't work, so forget the chat.
So, is there a final player? We have a final player left, right?
Yes, it is Greener. So, we are guaranteed, well, we have the possibility of at least one more Terran game here. With the Greener,
yeah, so far
of course,
it's been great. I haven't had to cast any non-Terran games because then I wouldn't know what's going on.
I know, this has been a perfect cast for you to join. Looks like their next player is going to be WhiteShadow. Looks like he is a Protoss player.
So it is going to be a TVP.
I believe Greener is or was watching the stream, so he should be knowing that his opponent will be a Protoss player.
Well, that depends on the outcome of the game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is if it does get to the next game, so. Did he not get in the party? Like, what is going on? I've invited this guy like 7 times now. We're still trying to get, and I'm just assuming that WhiteShadow is a Protoss based on the icon that he had. It was a Protoss icon. So
is it in a game chat or something?
nah, the game chat didn't work, so we abandoned it pretty early.
I see.
And we've just been doing it through a party ever since then. This is the first problemo that we've had so far. So their captain is gonna have to tell him to stop that. He has finally disabled that option, so yeah, he is in here.
Welcome, WhiteShadow.
What are the maps? Oh, balls. I had the map pull open earlier. Let's see if I can find it. Nydus. Nope, that's our spreadsheet. I don't need that. I need... success. So it looks like we have Lotus and Tessellation are left. And it looks like WhiteShadow is a 5200 Protoss player.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yep. I know Alex has some strong opinions on TVP in general.
To be honest, I was gonna say it's kind of opposite of you. You both have strong opinions, but it's like totally the opposite way.
We'll see what he decides to do here. It looks like Lotus is going to be the last map, if we do need it. going to pop in here right quick. I know TVP is, I don't know, it's a weird,
It's a very volatile
weird
matchup.
matchup. It is. It's extremely volatile, and it's
Yeah,
one of those
so
maps where you either or one of those matchups where you either love it or you hate it. And I think most players from both sides of the matchup usually hate it.
yeah, I mean, just the way it works, right? For example, in TBZ or PBZ, for example, right? Like, it's a little bit less volatile because the games can just like like you have units from the Terran and the Protoss player in TBZ or PBZ play the same role, right? They're trying to slow down the Zerg player as they like get their own tech, just because the Zerg player can kind of like explode in economy if they're left unchecked.
Yep.
But because Terran and Protoss both have these same harassing units, right? So what happens when they play against each other? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so it was actually mentioned on the Paladin show, and I agree with, like, the problem with PvT is literally the fact that Zerg exists in the game.
Yeah, for sure. It's weird to balance against because if you like one thing that Terran players have always said is, oh, up here in the top left, Alex TG, bottom left, WhiteShadow. One thing
Your
that
introduction is just so like it's like, oh, they're here, by the way.
hey, we got other stuff to talk about right now. So one thing I know that Terran players always talk about is the prevalent of splash damage and how it works with Marines specifically.
Um,
And it's
that's
like,
definitely
well,
that's definitely one thing that's talked about. Like the for all three races are like pretty balanced, to be honest, and it is balanced around things like Protoss specifically, because they have that's just the way their units work. Like they have less units at the beginning of the game, especially just because like their units are fucking expensive compared to Terran or Zerg units. So how are they supposed to live? They end up having their lower unit count can they have to have some way to fight higher unit counts, right? So there's like splash damage, there's spells. That's just how the race is designed. That's what it is.
yep. And it's like one of those things though, like you can't decrease the amount of damage that Storm does to
To
Marines
balance
specifically,
PvP. Yeah.
because if you do that, then Hydras just never die. Like, and
Yeah, for
you
sure.
can't change it. You can't change it to where it does less damage to biological units because every single Zerg unit is biological, so that
Yeah,
won't
pretty much
work.
and so on.
So
However,
it's just
so
a
just from
weird
what I've
spot.
seen from like professional players and commentators and so on, is like the splash damage is actually not what is perceived as the issue in pro play. Obviously, it's like if you talk to like your random um, your average player, it's like, oh yeah, splash is really good against like a bunch of units. But the problem in TVP actually um,
Is how
is
the
the fact
ecos
that
work.
yes, exactly. Uh, just the way it works right now is that this actually happened with I don't know if you remember, it was last year after BlizzCon, I think. The Cyclone got changed to its current state,
Yep.
where you can't reactor that anymore, but the spell that it gave, the lock on, is significantly stronger.
Yes.
And also the Cyclone's squishier now. It's definitely more of a controlled unit than it used to be. Before it was a pretty brute force unit. You just make a ton of them and you aim with them at the enemy. That's it. That's the end of it.
Yep.
Right now, you definitely control it. You can get a lot of value out of it, but it's pretty squishy compared to what it used to be, and you can't reactor them out, so you can't have a ton of them. Alex is getting, looks like he's going to get 3 worker kills,
Yep.
maybe 4. No, it's just going
No.
to be 3.
Gonna
This
get
is
pushed
pretty
off.
good.
So. Yep. Looks like his opponent went for a super fast Robobay, which delayed his first Stalker a little bit. So interesting choices there. And then Alex is going for your standard 1-1-1. Looks like he is going for Hellions instead of Widow Mines, which is one of those choices I think that's based just on player preference mainly.
Yeah, so there is something you can actually do here where, huh, okay, so Uh, I'll be honest. I think he just made the Hellion because he wanted to make something out of the factory and didn't want it to leave it idle.
That's also a
Doesn't really,
possibility.
it doesn't really fit into any build here, but maybe you don't want to leave it idle. You don't want the gas for a Widow Mine, so you make a Hellion. And now the factory is just going to exist to make add-ons for the other buildings.
Yep, for sure. which it is making a tech lab here for STEM.
So what WhiteShadow is doing is making a War Prism with Stalkers. This is a really good aggressive build against Terran.
Yep, and he's
if you have the control for it.
And then behind this, he's just going straight up into Colossus, which is the best unit in the entire... Well, no, it's not. It's the second best unit in the entire game.
No, there's actually a Disruptor queued up, so maybe it might just
he's
be
going Disruptor drop. Okay, that's interesting. That was one of the other things that you can do. I know Gemini is a big fan and proponent of the Disruptor drop.
So what I was gonna say was I was thinking he could do Stalker pressure with a War Prism, because if you have a War Prism, it kind of functions as like a pseudo blink.
No. That pylon's like one hex off from being a super pylon. I love when that happens. Sorry, I just had to put that in there real fast. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. I was gonna say, like, there's definitely like pressure builds where you have a War Prism and you just keep making Stalkers early, and then you just play very aggressively. It's like a control build for sure, and you can do a lot of damage to the Terran player because they early on you just don't have the mobility to fight like that, right? So it depends on the Protoss player's control early on.
Oh god.
Stalkers.
He can drop this on the low ground and shoot it up, and Alex is not going to be able to see it until it comes into his range. He's not going to... Alright, that was not as bad as I thought that Disruptor shot was going to be, but...
Yeah, so I think like about 5 units died, the 2 Widow Mines, and I think 3 Marines.
Yeah, it definitely could have been much worse, because his Marines were super clumped up before those Widow Mines got there. It's like this Disruptor is back out. He really needs to get this Viking down here chasing this Warp Prism away. This is the spot I was talking about.
Alex is doing the smart thing, and he's splitting up his bio, minimizing the damage he takes.
Yep, did lose another couple Marines and a Marauder there to
be honest,
second
Disruptor drop, when you play against it as a Terran player, you kind of treat it like, for example, when you play against Phoenixes, right? Like Phoenixes in PvZ or PvT, you kind of just accept you're going to lose stuff. It is what it is, right?
I think he's completely forgot about this Viking, by the way.
No, he's just leaving it here because this is one of the entry paths. He wants to prevent as many worker losses as possible, right? Like losing Marines is not as big a deal compared to losing workers, right?
I suppose, but you'd think you could just get down here and just push that prism away. Like, you don't have to chase it super far, and if you're down here where this prism is, you're probably going to see some Stalkers getting in there. But
with Disruptor drop, you know, the War Prism has speed. The Vikings already are not as fast as the War Prism when they don't have speed. So when they do have speed, it's, to be honest, it's basically not worth your time to chase it. You could chase it a little bit, but ultimately you just accept you're going to lose a little bit of stuff. And the Protoss player was probably going to cut some stuff to get the... Oh, you know what happened? Alex actually dodged the clump of Blink Stalkers. This is actually really bad for WhiteShadow.
Yeah,
WhiteShadow is moving out to intercept it, and oh, hey, look what's happening.
Yep, it is in his base. Looks like he did know about it. He does, of course, have a pervert sitting on top of Alex's natural base there. Colossus is out, though, so this isn't going to get too much. WhiteShadow did respond really well in pulling his workers away when he did. Looks like he is going to chase the Colossus down, so
too
that's
bad
good.
for Alex. Alex, looks like he sacrificed his entire Bioforce to catch that Colossus. I'm not really sure if that's worth it. Obviously, catching Colossus is really big.
Oh, he just clumped up his whole army. Alright, good stuff there. WhiteShadow did pick up that Disruptor right before the Nova actually did explode, so Alex did not lose any units there. Thing with Disruptors too is he's going to be able to constantly just run this back and forth and drop it and shoot Novas at Alex, so it's going to slow his push down a ton on getting across the map and give WhiteShadow time to power up.
Yeah, it's definitely super annoying. That was a great split. He barely lost any units. So Alex's army is much bigger than the Protoss players, and but again, it is difficult to move across the map. There's an observer spotting his army, and the Disruptor drop obviously can continue to get value.
Yeah. Oh, nice pre-splits there. Loses a Marauder and a Widow Mine, but not too bad. He's going ahead and getting Liberators set up, so going to be hard for WhiteShadow to push up here. Fortunately for him, he does have Disruptor, so he's going to be able to lay siege to Alex's Bioforce that is here, so he's not really actually pressured. Usually with Mass Gateway styles, you'll see the Protoss player eventually get antsy and just decide to run through Liberator zones, but with the force that he has assembled, he's not going to have to do that at all. Like, the onus is on Alex right now to engage.
I mean, Alex really doesn't have to do anything.
He is on 3 bases. He does have a healthy worker count. He's actually up in workers on the Protoss player, which
Hey, he's
you
up
do
in
not
workers.
want as a Protoss player.
He's up in upgrades because Protoss player right now is actually not making any upgrades at all.
Does he even have a forge? He does not.
He may not have a forge. So what Alex is doing is actually fine. He's just I don't know how I feel about this, Alex.
He waited for the disruptors to go on cooldown and he just decided to blast his way through. He does have 2 Vikings, so the Colossus are going to fall, but there are a lot of Stalkers here, which are going to push the Vikings back. Vikings, once the Colossus are dead, not super great. They're decent against Stalkers, but they're not good against Disruptors, as we see.
That's a very large Disruptor hit.
Yeah, that was a big boy Disruptor shot there. Looks like he did clip a couple of his Stalkers with that last Disruptor shot, which, once again, not what you want. Alex is going to jump on this as it recalls.
Recall?
Yeah, I'm not
Why
sure,
is he
like,
recalling?
I have 0 clue.
What did he recall for? Was there a drop?
No, there's nothing out on the map. Like,
why did he recall that? Because he just lost a ton of Stalkers. The Stalkers are really expensive. I'm sure you know this because you played Protoss.
Yeah.
These Stalkers are not free. These are really expensive.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's going to have to remake Stalkers because he doesn't have charge. Like,
yeah. This is...
He's making 2 more robo facilities, which is interesting. Alex has a gigantic army now, so he is pushing across the map.
It's gonna be really hard for the Protoss player to deflect this.
Unfortunately,
the workers are being pulled. Oh my god.
Pulling the boys too. Like, that's a little bit aggressive. Like,
I think it's fine.
He's pulling so many. He's pulled like 40 workers at this point.
Oh, that's a pretty good split.
Yep, that was a good
and
split.
The Disruptors go down. There's only 1 more Disruptor left. This looks really... I don't know how he's going to deflect this.
Yeah, the only bad part about this is, for Alex, is you really want to pull the boys against, like, charge lots, because they screw up with the targeting AI. His opponent's just not making charge lots. He's making all ranged units, which, as you can see, most of Alex's army is dead, and the only thing that's left is workers. He's lost 28. He has another at least 20 here, so he's not going to be able to reinforce this, and...
Yeah, so
I'm
what
pretty
Alex
sure
did
that the Protoss
was,
player has held this.
Yeah, so... Alex, he definitely needed the workers to buffer for the bio, and what happened was that most of the bio died during those little poke in and outs, so it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, Alex is continuing to run units across the map. He has lost 54 workers. That doesn't really matter right now because the big thing is the bio units, and Alex leaves the game.
Looks like the game is over. That's too bad because Alex definitely was in a very good position. I think I do know why he felt like he needed to do that, because if I'm not mistaken, he only had 1 eBay. So that's not very conducive to playing a long game, right? Like, you definitely, if you want to play a long game, you transition into a second eBay and an armory, and you continue your upgrades and make a 4th base. Even though Alex had 3 bases, yeah, like 3 bases does not mean it's not all in, pretty much.
So we are going to jump into the last map, which is going to be Lotus. And we are going to get these guys loaded in. So they are both saying that they're ready. So as soon as we get everybody in the map, get the races set, then we'll be good to go. We're going to give Greener the Tirador skins. And his opponent is going to play with the Golden Age skins, because why not? Referee. Referee. Ha! Success. So we are starting. Last match, gonna be another Protoss versus Terran on Lotus, which is an interesting map, to say the least. So, Greener rocking the battlecruiser background there, which is pretty cool. And WhiteShadow rocking his GM border, which is also pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's going to be another TVP. In the top right, we have Greener, and it looks like this is a 4-player map.
It is
if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's not? This is just the way the map is?
Yep.
Ah, I see. I can see why no one picked this map. Yeah, this is a interesting map. So the players are not spawning opposite to each other. They're adjacent to each other in terms of base spawns. So, I mean, the way the map layout is, the rush distance is still not very big, but I think for these kinds of maps, ninja bases are actually probably a lot more viable, just the way it is. The map is split up in half usually. One player takes one half, the other player takes another half. But with the way the layout is, the entire left side could be uncontested, right? So your area of control over the map doesn't extend to the left side of the map. It's going to be interesting. It could end up being nothing, like nothing could come of this. I could just be talking about it for no reason, but we'll see.
And it is cool too, because you have this easily accessible goal base, like directly south or north of your base, depending on where your spawn is. So you've got a lot of potential mental.
Scouting probe goes down, by the way.
Yeah. Did lose that. I don't think any SCVs went down. Nope, they did just
one
trade out.
SCV went down. The one building it went down, but it's definitely something. If you're a Terran player, you will do that trade every day, just because you want to deny probe scouting and just probe harassing the SCV building the low ground CC.
Yeah, for sure. It was just standard play, but yeah, the gold bases are here. They're easily accessible, but there is this giant bridge behind them. So if, for say, the Protoss player decides to try to take this gold base, then all Greener's got to do is load up like 2 tanks and some Marines and siege them behind this.
Oh, and this is definitely a meme game. Meme build. What the hell? There's like a freaking bridge.
Yep.
This looks really silly. I'm not gonna lie.
This is from, if I'm remembering right, this is from the same Team Liquid map contest season as Redshift. And I think one of the categories for that season was either gold bases or destructible rocks, which this base has both of. So
it looks like this wall off was not a wall off. As WhiteShadow just realizes this and says bruh, because he realizes that's not a wall off.
Yeah, there's like 4 different Reaper jump points up here. There's one here, one here. I think there's another one probably down here. I don't think that's fully walled off. Like, yeah.
No, it looks like it's just the top part that is a Reaper jump up, and obviously this is not walled. He's gonna lose the Reaper, I think. Yeah, he's gonna lose the Reaper.
For sure.
That's not good. So WhiteShadow is actually making charge.
Oh, my battery's dead on my phone. So he's going to charge first this game instead of blink, which is interesting. Greener is going to scan. He's going to see a chrono dumped into that Twilight, so he's probably going to think it's charge anyway. Or charge. He's going to think it's blink anyways, because that is the more standard thing to see. Like, you don't really see charge unless you're playing somebody bad like me. So
charge is so WhiteShadow, you can see his control is definitely not it's not as on point, just because he walks the adapt up the ramp, loses most HP on it, and it'll be very difficult to send in because it's so bruised, even if the shield recovers. And the Cyclone is going to spot it and it's dead. So that's pretty cool.
Rip. And he is making a 3 gateway wall against only the Marines that he saw. He hasn't saw Hellions, so not sure what that was about. Greener is going Tech Lab on the starport. I know Greener does love his Banshees. So,
that's a Raven.
Nope, that's going to be a Raven. I was hoping
Banshee
it'll
would
be
actually be
Banshees.
pretty good here just because there's no blink.
Yep.
So
And there's a
the
super late
the
robo.
reason you go blink is because blink is kind of like a one size fits all build. Um, if you don't really know what the opponent's going to do yet, you
He's
just get a
charge
bunch of
all in.
stalkers.
This is 100% a charge all in.
Yeah, there's a lot of gates. How many gates is this? There's 7
8
gates currently.
gateways.
Okay, 8 gateways. There's going to be a robo with a warp prism. So, yeah, definitely an all in. But Greener already has a wall. This is definitely one of the prerequisites of fighting a charge lot all in. You want a wall in your natural. Helps a lot.
And he is going to have the Raven, so he's going to be able to drop an anti-armor missile on the Zealots as they get on the wall, which is going to let them be shredded by the Marines and the siege tanks he's going to have out. So he's in a very good position right now.
This early, I would still drop auto turrets just because the anti-armor missiles really shows its value when you have stim. I don't think Greener has stim yet. Still ways off. And at the point you don't have stim, it's still better to drop turrets because turrets actually still do really well in those charge lots because Zealots will charge against the first thing they see, right?
Yep.
You definitely want the Zealots to burn their charge on the turret rather than the Marines because the turret doesn't last very long, right? It's like 10 seconds. It's going to die anyway. So,
yeah, we are about to see Greener does choose to go for the anti-armor missile over the auto turret.
I don't know anything, so it's fine.
I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Killed the prism. This is really good for Greener.
Zealots are here. All he's got to do is clean this up. Unfortunately, he has lost most of his fighting forces. We do have a Cyclone coming out. He has lost 24 workers so far. The Raven is still here. He's lost everything. That wall was broken very fast. Then he also dropped some charge lots over the wall onto the tank immediately. Another tank is out. Raven regaining energy, almost has enough for an
That's pretty
auto
funny.
turret.
He warped in Zealots and walked them across the map. So what Greener has to do, he pretty much is a turtle, try to slowly regain the low ground. Obviously, the Protoss player has more workers, more army, but obviously the tech is a lot worse, right? And that's just when you give up when you do this kind of stuff.
Yep, for sure. So, Greener is not in a great position, but he's not in a horrible position either. Protoss player is only on 2 gases. He's completely pulled out of his main gas. He has 1 got working there still, so there's no tech coming behind this. It's 100% more all-ins. He does have the prism there, so he's going to be able to redrop on top of Greener's army. Greener does have a tank over here, still has some Marines, so he is going to rebuff.
Yeah, so I think pretty much this push is held.
Yeah, and he's getting a Liberator, so he's just going to siege a Liberator on top of this ramp. All the charge lots are going to have to come up it. So there's going to be really no choice there. He's going to be able to drop some over the top of it, but looks like Greener has decided, screw this. He's just going to try to push out. Not sure that this was the best decision, because this is going to let the Zealots get a ton of surface area onto his tanks, which is not what you want. The Liberator is in a good spot.
Yeah,
Zealots
for sure.
are getting ferried over, and it looks like
Greener is actually going to lose.
Yes.
Just because he tried to retake the low ground to mine from it. Definitely, it's understandable that you want to start mining as soon as possible because the opponent is mining, right? But you have to understand, in this kind of situation, it's better safe than sorry. The Protoss player has no tech, so there's definitely a decision to be made. Still a good game.
Yep. I definitely think that he thought that there was... I'm not sure he thought that his opponent was maybe going to keep going that hard on it. I think maybe he thought that his opponent was going to pull back and try to tech up and go into a macro game, but no.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
just
from that point of view, like how many Zealots he made to try to tech switch back into normal, it would take really long, right? It's okay to not retake the low ground for a little bit longer. Just have your stuff sieged on the high ground, slowly retake it, maybe have like 3 siege tanks, have some medevacs, combat shield.
Yep. And just get a couple Liberators, just set them up on both ramps so that if they try to walk up in any way, they take those shots. Fortunately for him, his opponent did go for multiple warp prisms, so he was never going to have to walk up a ramp and get hit by those raiders. He's just going to be able to ferry them constantly over the wall. So, yep,
Yeah.
some good games there. Little unfortunate for Greenert there at the end. I did not update the casting tool at all because I am the worst.
Oh, that's okay.
It's
Shit
updated now.
happens.
That's all that matters because I just need to get the screenshot for the announcement tab anyways. And I think that's going to do it for us for this week of Nydus. I know tomorrow we have the ATL EU playoffs. Is the first round of playoffs on the opposite pawns Alpha Team League. So that's coming. I have no idea when. I think it's like 1700 CEST maybe. So like 1 o'clock Eastern time. Check the tabs. Watch the announcements if you want to watch that. It'll be on sometime tomorrow. So check that out. Hoping to go through the playoffs there. CTL playoffs also start on Monday. As soon as I find a master who actually wants to take the master slot, we will be good from there. Because so far, everybody, including my wonderful caster Daraboo, has completely ghosted me about taking the master slot. So I'm going to have to annoy the crap out of them tomorrow to get that settled. But that'll be coming sometime next week. We'll probably... I don't know if we're going to do CTL casts for playoffs or not. We didn't last year. So
Yeah,
we'll decide. We'll decide that, and of course, you guys know where to watch. So that's gonna do it for us tonight. Darby, you have anything you want to say to everybody before we get out of here?
Well, no, that's pretty much it. Thanks for having me. I'm gonna go out for a little bit, so I'll catch you later.
Yep,
see you.
For real. See ya. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you guys later too.